The most rewarding part is the look on the property owners' faces when they see people roll in the door. Australia had 14 million hectares damaged, and that was a record for us and one of the biggest natural disasters in Australia's history. A lot of the impact or the damage that was caused by the fires was enormous. The fences were melted, the wire was broken, livestock was killed. There was basically nothing left on the land, and that was, I would say, as devastating as bushfires are. You know, to see that firsthand as well post the fire was just an incredible sight. There was a lot of heartache after that come through. PTSD is a common word thrown around, and I guess a lot of the farmers and property owners up here have potentially been exposed to an event that's, you know, triggered that type of condition, and so has really affected their mental health. Fencing for Fires was a group I created after the bushfires, in where back in 2015 our family farm was devastated by bushfires. It took 18 months to get the property back to where it was, and it was all done by manual labour. So when the 2020 bushfires happened, I realised that it was going to be a big effort to restore the farmland around the impacted areas. We've been able to lay, you know, hundreds of kilometres of fences. You know, we've provided tens of thousands of posts, thousands of kilometres of wire. You know, so it's been a huge effort, and it's all possible due to the donations received from the local and the Australian population. Post my full-time duties, I've spent every basically minute of that working on fences, talking fences, purchasing materials for fences, etc. So, you know, that could be I spend a day at work, finish at 4 or 5 o'clock, come back and load up the car with materials and take them up to the farms devastated by a fire, and, you know, may turn back up at home at midnight, and then do it all again the next day. So we've just come across a gentleman called Bob, who's 77 years old, and Bob had lost his home. He's also struggled with his fencing duties, and he doesn't have any family or friends that have been able to give him a hand. So it's been almost 12 months down the track, and we discovered him 2 months ago. So for 10 months he's been idling with a property with no fences, no house, and very limited access to supplies. So we've been able to, I guess, put a focus onto Bob. We've almost completed his fencing, which will allow him to get his livelihood back and get his cattle back and allow to generate an income. But at the moment we're still chasing housing and things like that for him. But, you know, the biggest thing was making a smile on his face when we did roll up. Yeah, look, initially the biggest challenge was actually getting the momentum behind Fencing for Fires. When we did finally break through and got the trust, and I guess the trust was from early on doing the hard yards, providing gear, spending time on people's properties, listening to their stories. That won a lot of hearts and allowed us to get a big following. The main goal is to make sure that we continue to support the current crisis and make sure that they're seen through to the end. And whether that's 6 months or 12 months down the track, we want to make sure we're there. And the hope is that down the track we can create something bigger, which allows a little bit more of a quicker response when a disaster does hit, where we're able to, I guess, initiate a group that can get in early and get things done in days rather than months. Yeah, the LG Local Legends competition was amazing, and it was a real shock to get nominated at first, but to get the call on at 7 p.m. when it's pitch black and we're actually, myself and Dad were on the fence line, you know, finishing up a job. It started to rain. LG gave us the call to say, hey, you've been nominated and you've actually won. That was amazing, and I think for LG to do what they've done in this time, especially the way the world is at the moment, is truly an inspiration, and it puts I guess a little bit more motivation into what you're doing.